Going live. All right. Geez, that was quick. Just said it was just going live straight into it. Good, everybody. What's up? It is Robert. We're all in quarantine. We're all locked down. We're all remote. We're all in the new day for a new world of business. We're testing out some tech, and I'm doing it on my own channels here so we can see what's going on. James Stewart says, "What up, yo, James? How are you, my friend?" And I'm joined by, introduce yourself, fellas, with the man with the glasses first.
We've all got that.
I know. I was deliberately trying to make it awkward for you.
Hello, everybody. Daily.
G'day, everyone.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mike Mullins here from Automio, New Zealand software company, currently working remote from the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Australia. Just went to the supermarket to try and get supplies, and the shelves were empty.
Actually empty?
Pretty much. Meat,
Is it
dairy.
panic buying, or was it?
Yeah, it's panic buying.
Dude, like
what's Sanford? Yeah. What's Sanford?
It's stuffed here too, dude. It's flipping full lockdown.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. If you're watching, we're testing out a little bit of tech. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, there should be a link right below it, and you can actually join the show live. We were using some technology called BeLive.tv. This is a new bit of tech we're using called StreamYard. So in the last 24 hours, a bunch of people have been asking me about content stuff. So I thought, what better way to try it out than to go live right now when we're doing it. So Shawn says, "What's up?" Daly has disappeared. Willcast says, "Panic buying big time." Claire says, "Hi team." Claire, if you're there, feel free to jump in and click in the mix. Mike, you're in Australia. I'm in America. You'll love this, bro. I was supposed to fly back last Saturday and land on Monday at 5 a.m. 4 hours after the cut-off time. So I would have got 2 weeks quarantine.
Self-isolation.
Yeah, self-isolation, sorry. And then I was going back for a whole bunch of, obviously, catch-up shows, studio, people, everything. And then when you're like I would be the literally worst case scenario for that. So clearly that did not happen.
But they wouldn't, even if you had got in within the cut-off time, they've now asked everyone to self-isolate, regardless if you missed it or not. So I had a friend get back Sunday morning. He's now self-isolating for 14 days.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Daly was just saying it looks like it's working everywhere else. So the tech does work. If you seen on both, I believe you can literally just click the link which I put up there, and you should be able to join in. So I think we did one test like this before, and the test was, what would it be like just to have a straight live talk show on social media? And like people, instead of like, News Talk ZB, and then flipping Keith jumps on, he's like, "Oh, I can't believe it. Don't have my toilet paper. I can't get my shit done," or whatever it is. We're doing it visual. So anyone that's watching, feel free to 100% jump up and join in. You're more than welcome.
Go, bro.
So what's your whole deal now with
what
you're in? What's going on? With all of it.
It's just been a bit crazy. I can't get over how much everything has escalated in 7 days. Like last Monday, we were business as usual, and now our entire team is working remotely around the globe. I think we've just lost a bit. You're back. I think we lost. Okay, cool.
I was trying some tech. I was just clicking in the solo layout to see if it would work.
No worries. Yeah, dude, it's been crazy. So the whole team is working remote now. Thank God for Zoom and Slack. They're just keeping things ticking along. And we're all around the globe, just working remotely. Even the new Plymouth team, Zach, my COO, has kind of front-footed things and just told everyone to just work from home. The science and social distancing is pretty compelling. Like, if you can work from home, I think it makes a lot of sense at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I think it is a new day for. The good thing is, if this happened 10 years ago, we wouldn't have the tech capabilities with to be able to do it. And now I think it's actually pretty rad, because not a single person has brought up them questioning the tech not being able to hold up. They're more stressed on, oh my gosh, I can't get thing. Rewind back 10 years, people would have absolutely lost their shit with it. We've got Will joining in.
Dial-up, NBN dial-up. We're so lucky.
No.
Oh, there he is. It's my co-worker from
There's a Automio conference.
And Claire's joining the mix as well. Claire,
Hello.
well, we haven't met before, but ladies go first, and she's way better dressed than you, Claire. Is what's going to happen with schools? You're captain education. What is it stuffed, or is everyone outies, or what?
Having a whole lot of discussions about how we prepare to go remote. So we've actually had professional development with our whole teaching team this afternoon, really trying to line up. So if and when we do need to go full remote with our kids, I mean, we've got senior students here, 11, 12, and 13. We're doing a whole lot of prep to make sure that what we deliver is reasonable, rational, and good quality. And the thing I've been talking to my team about is for us to keep a whole lot of perspective about what's actually important at this place in time, and that it doesn't become about stressing about NCA, stressing about assessments. We've got to keep it real, and we've got to make sure it's about keeping connections with young people and making sure everyone's okay first and foremost. And then if some wicked learning goes on, awesome. But it shouldn't be about kidding. We say sitting in front of a screen.
So how does that work in the real world? Does Jacinda just throw the hammer and say, that's it, everyone goes home? Like, who makes the call? How does that work?
Yeah, we work in ministry. They're the only people that can make that call for a public school. So when the ministry decides that it's time to do it, or if someone like happens, we're jumping in and out. But if someone's unwell, like they were at Logan Park, they're going to have to shut down the school for a couple of days. They've been saying at the moment they're not looking at long-term shutdown, but my gut instinct is that will change over the next week or so, and we'll be prepared to go. And for most schools, we've got learning platforms. I've been leading technology and education and professional development in that area for the last 10 years, and it's sort of interesting because we're seeing a sense of urgency, meaning that people are engaging with the stuff we've been talking about doing for 10 years, and suddenly, people are jumping to. And the main thing I'm worried about is that we don't just think it's about delivering content online, that we actually realise it's about connections and relationships and facilitating offline connections and learning, not just putting worksheets.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Print out the PDF and pick some shit.
Yeah. Digital signing is one big thing. Will Rowland's all about.
Will, so what's your deal? You guys work with Mike, unfortunately?
Yeah, unfortunately. Thankfully, I do it from a distance, which is only a positive thing. But no, yeah, so working alongside Mike and getting my experience of the working from home life now, which has been an interesting transition. I'm sort of used to just looking at my neighbour and asking them a quick question and getting an answer, whereas it just takes a little bit more effort now, which has been sort of one of the biggest things I didn't really see coming. But yeah, it's been a pretty smooth transition for us, and I think we've sort of seen it as a pretty exciting opportunity to do things different and get stuff done in a different way. Never would have thought we would be jumping on a call like this and thinking about doing this even 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
The coolest part, well, you have to agree, is our 65-year-old accounts manager Janice has just gone work from home online for the first time in her life.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's jumping on there. She's all set up from home. She's got dual screens set up at home, and she's doing the accounts from there. So yeah, that's pretty.
65 years old. So cool.
So
just on that, right? Do you think that this will last more than 2-3 weeks? Do you think this is this is stage one to escalate, or do you think it's going to?
Yeah, I think we've jumped on it early, which you hope will slow things down. But it's sort of when you think about flattening the peak that they've sort of been going on about, it does mean we're going to be sort of doing this sort of thing for a long time, I think. And I think the initial transition period, which we're probably going through now, of people starting to work from home, is probably going to be the toughest part because you've got all that setup involved and sort of reworking out your systems. But hopefully once that's sorted, everyone will be in a much better headspace. I think there's a bit of panic out there at the moment, and hopefully get to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Claire, from your side, what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge with, say, everyone going remote? Like for I guess the majority of us on the call, we understand how tech works and are pretty tuned in to be able to do things. You know, for those that I guess not so fortunate or technically literate as much, or just whatever. What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be through this whole thing? Because it's going to be a shit show for many. Because if my mum doesn't even know what the flipping modem is, it's like, geez.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be highlighting the digital divide. I think we live in a real bubble of privilege, being people, professional people. We can access this stuff and we can access Wi-Fi. Don't think we can presume people have access to Wi-Fi. We certainly don't do that within our school. We can't presume that even if a kid has a device they bring to school, that device is theirs when they go into the home as well. And so, what I hope we're going to see is a short, sharp shock, and that we address that digital divide sooner rather than later. So in the first instance, make sure the infrastructure's there. I mean, I hope Spark comes to the party with Network for Learning, which provides a network internet for all the schools in New Zealand, and rolls that out to community hotspotting and connection. And I hope we see fit to ensure that every young person and every household actually has the technology in there. The reality is it's there, it's available. A lot of us are sitting on it and stockpiling it. I hope we can redistribute the physical technology and infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And then I hope we all adopt someone and upskill them.
Mike?
I think I love how Zoom is not charging well. Did you see that? The Zoom is just making their technology available for all, especially in education. I think it's a really cool leadership from the tech sector there. So Spark, I hope they come to the party as well.
The irony that, a lot of the local shops are price gouging the shit out of stuff that doesn't mean much to jeopardize relationships, and then the big billionaires are like, nah, have the shit for free because we actually know the long tail of what's going to happen in the future, right? Well, that's why I actually posted about it. I said, who do you think is going to be the winner in this remote battle? Because in terms of as soon as it's like Apple versus Android. As soon as you're in the ecosystem, you get locked. As soon as you're like Captain Zoom or Captain Flippin' Teams or Captain Google Hangouts, what maybe let's go that way. What tech player do you think's gonna pull the ninja move out and come out of this?
I'm gonna go eat my dinner. I'm getting the signal.
Okay. No.
Okay.
Well, you answer, Claire, and then you go.
I reckon we're going to see all the big players share that space, because I think Zoom has definitely got in there early.
Oh yeah,
and has claimed that space like no one else. I think educationally, Google Hangout in New Zealand particularly has got the prime real estate in that space. I think Microsoft Teams is a bit of a poor cousin in the education space, but I suspect that's not the case professionally. But Zoom, I think, are the ones that are creaming it. And I would suspect Google are going to be well on its tail as well. I better go appreciate my family. And
enjoy your dinner, Claire. Enjoy your dinner,
Claire. See ya.
Yeah, on that, I think there's going to be a massive opportunity for that freemium model right now for the big tech companies. Go freemium and then look to monetize when times are better, but show a bit of goodwill right now, and it will be appreciated.
Especially at the
Dropbox model. Yeah.
I think Daily, you should be in now. They just talked about Network for Learning, Microsoft Tech, all sorts of shit. You know a little bit about this. Who do you think is going to be the winner from the tech sector with this whole thing in terms of the commercial world transition to remote?
And again, yes, I know a little bit for the fact that I actually work for Network for Learning. So I do know Claire, and I do know the company that provides the internet to 98% of schools in New Zealand. Not really much I can say about what they are doing, other than that they're doing what they can to help bridge that divide. It's a big job between them and Spark, so hopefully that does speed up during these times of crisis. I also have been sent to work from home by that company, so I'm dealing with those issues. Tech-wise, it's up for grabs, man. It's like education-wise, agree with Claire. Google have got the stranglehold. I believe 80% of schools in New Zealand are currently Google schools. which means by default they will be using Hangouts or a Google equivalent. Microsoft Teams, Skype. Yes, it may take on for the commercial side of things, but it's still lacking quite a bit when it comes to the experienced side of things. It's still quite a hard tech to use for the everyday person. Zoom is amazing. Came out of nowhere, what, 2.5 years ago now, and since then it's just skyrocketed into use.
What's needed? What's needed in that education space? Like, what are you sort of missing there to I guess make sure we get the job done for the next wee while?
I think personal opinion, not at all backed by NFRL as such, as like my personal opinion is that it's as many people as possible at the highest levels backing the players, because like Claire said, it's all very in the education sector. It's all very much dependent on what the ministry, for example, will say yes to, or what they will fund as such. Like, where's the money coming from? What can schools afford to use based on what they're currently using? So it's the age-old conundrum of it's all about the dollars.
Nice.
Coming
back to that work from home topic. Coming back to that work from home topic, Robbie, what are you seeing in lockdown zone on the West Coast? How's it being played? How's it playing out?
Just really eerie. Like, you're still allowed to go outside and stuff, but the word came down yesterday. Everyone's phones went off with the emergency sort of beepers. They were like, stay at home, no gatherings. Basically all of the buildings, all the work shut down. Everyone started like grabbing shit out of the offices. There wasn't as much of a panic as such on the supermarkets like it was a couple of days ago, just because after Trump yesterday announced, he said, look, we've talked to all the guys from, the Walmarts and everything else. There is so much food there. You don't need to stress about that. Just keep your distance. And that actually calmed that down actually really well, which was quite good, because from like 3 days ago, it was carnage, man. Like, it was pretty weird, like just totally like empty shelves everywhere. And we're in I guess a pretty like sort of nice area of town, but in some of the other things, it was like people kind of half rioting and fighting, and there were a whole bunch of videos popping up on World Star. It's just like dudes just getting smoked, like trying to get toilet paper and stuff. It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's been like that here at It's been like that here at Woolies. It's been crazy. Just some of the footage coming up, and
it's just naivety, right? Like the reality is there's so much. In a situation like this, you can't eat toilet paper after the second month, right? So I think they're probably grabbing the wrong stuff. But it was weird. I was talking to the valet at this local spot they rolled to, and he was just saying, he was like, it's the herd mentality. I went to the supermarket. I don't need 5 flipping truckloads of water, but the dude in front of me had it. So I was like, stuff it. I at least need one. And he's like, but we've got perfectly fine water. What are we doing? So I think the like humanity's really disappointed me in this first wave.
Big time.
And I'm hoping it redeems itself at the end of it to come out. Like, but I do feel that this is. I don't see the self-isolation thing, lockdown, whatever. I don't see it being a short thing. I could see, if anything, if the numbers keep going up dramatically, it doesn't make sense that a government's going to say, no, just go back to work if the numbers keep going up, right? Like, I just can't. I don't think that's going to happen. So my bad prediction, which I feel, is that it's going to be like this until the numbers go down.
And that's what China has shown, right? That's what China has shown to control this thing, right? You need a total lockdown for weeks on end.
Aggressive, though. They were taking parents away from kids. They're doing all sorts of crazy shit.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, it's like military shit.
Are they focusing on the wrong numbers? Because at the moment, again, entirely personal view, as someone that is at high risk of severe complications should I get this thing, I'm actually not that concerned, because the numbers I'm focusing on are the number of deaths, especially in New Zealand. In New Zealand at the moment, there are 0 deaths. The number of people getting it rises. Yes, it rises. One reason is more people are being tested, therefore more people are being found to have had it or have just got it.
Yeah.
The issue again comes down to money and the cost on the health system.
Have you seen this website, corona.help?
An online kind of work hub.
Yeah, and it's just updated a minute ago, and the numbers are way more accurate than the Herald ones. The Herald ones, shit, it's like still at 158. So it's 199,000 infected, 993 confirmed dead, but the successfully recovered 82,884. So as you can see, like the recovery rate is pretty flipping solid for all of it. And then active cases obviously increasing, but so is the recoveries and stuff. And obviously everyone's freaking out with whatever the reality is from a perspective. You know, the flu kills more people and a whole bunch of other stuff. And obviously I'm not a doctor, but the key thing here is this recovery thing is going nothing but up. And from some of the other stuff we've seen, it's doing it. So from that side of things, it's pretty cool. But that's corona.help if you want to check it out. It's pretty decent.
Hi, managing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to from here. It's you know what I was just actually saying to Daly before we.
I don't think you can predict anything out because it escalates so far. What people were predicting a week ago is just everything's changed. You just can't predict at the moment. Where we'll be having a completely different conversation this time next week. I
do have one guaranteed prediction. It's a lock. The shit is a straight lock, Miles. Every single YouTuber / creator / podcaster / whatever is going to get so challenged as if it was like a 48-hour film fest with no budget, but they can't move logistically, but they still need to create content. So it's actually going to force creativity in confined spaces, which is epic. It's like, and I think it's going to whittle out so many. There's going to be so many amazing more comedians and musicians pop out of this, and so many shitty average YouTubers who've been able to just milk easy trips and stuff, whatever, with no creativity. I think they're going to get washed out. So I think from a creative point of view, it's going to actually be pretty. I think it's going to be fucking epic from that side of things. And you've already seen it started. Yep.
John Legend, Neil Young, they're already doing concerts on Instagram Live. I think that's so cool.
Shawn, you've just joined. What's up, bro?
Hey, how you guys doing? Late night in the United States, man. Yeah,
where are you ringing from? Like Tennessee or some shit? What are you doing?
No, I'm in Utah, man. I followed you for a while. Thought I would join in. Yeah, how you guys doing?
Dude, I'm in San Fran. Mike's in Australia. Daly's in Auckland, and Will's in where you at? The Tron.
New Plymouth.
New Plymouth.
Yeah.
See, we're going international now. This is great. What's up, Shawn?
Hey, not a whole lot, man. Yeah, I forgot to shave. It's midnight. You know what I mean? Meetings in the morning.
I know it's 11 o'clock here in San Fran. So yeah, you're an hour ahead from me. So what's going on? How's stuff? I think we've reached a great moment, team. We've finally transcended, and we've got a multi. You know, we've got a global stream presence happening now. We've got Utah rolling. Flipping, I messed with that shit. So what's popping in Utah, bro?
Not a whole lot, man. You know, just out here in Silicon Slopes, man. A lot of good stuff going on. But yeah, so out here, man, our schools have been shut down for a couple of weeks. You know, my kids are doing school over Zoom. You know, my one son, he's doing his speech therapy, stuff like that over, you know, Zoom. And I think out here, you know, I heard you guys talking a lot about, you know, some of the schools and things that are using Google Hangouts. I think here in the United States, the clear winner is definitely Zoom on that front. A lot of teachers, a lot of parents, stuff like that have been using that. But we haven't been put into a mandatory quarantine as of yet. But basically out here in Utah, you know, the state Governor Herbert basically said that anybody that wants to go to any restaurant has to go through drive-through, things like that. So gatherings, I think of, you know, any higher than 10 or 20 have been, you know, kind of frowned upon at this particular point in time. But, you know, I was out earlier with my two sons. We're still seeing people out and around, but, you know, Apple's closed down. Nordstrom Rack is closed down. Nike's closed down. So a lot of companies have just decided to let their employees stay home and, you know, give them pay. And a lot of our other companies, like tech companies out here, like Domo, Pluralsight, you know, some of the heavy hitters, they're all allowing people to work from home and do things such as that. So yeah, that's kind of the latest out here.
Do you think it's going to become mandatory lockdown? Like, because obviously, and it was just really interesting seeing how it worked. Of like, hey, all of a sudden it was, no one from Europe to America. Then it was, New Zealand made the call with Jacinda, like any tourists come in, guarantee, you need to go into self-isolation. Then I think probably the big one is yesterday and today's one with New York and with California. Like, I'm just looking at this thing here. This is a front page of CNN right now, and it was nearly 8 million Northern California residents asked to shelter in place. Like, that was from today. Like, it's do you think, Shawn, this is going to go the whole nation? You think that's the next? It's got to be, right? Like, surely.
Yeah, I think that right now it's really interesting because a lot of people are, living by fear right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have, out here in Utah, a lot of people, man, they hoarded a bunch of stuff, whether it be the toilet paper, the ammunition coming from Cabela's, different things like that. That's a gun retailer out here, guys.
Dude, no, Cabela's is, that's like,
yeah. So, people are hoarding ammo. People are hoarding toilet paper, sanitizer, things like that. For me, I've spent a lot of time working in customer success. And I think that, one thing that I've learned along the way is, a lot of our thought leaders coming from this area, like Nick Stagg and, Scott Paul from Wooly and, Josh James from Domo and a lot of our great leaders out here, they're saying a lot of stuff similar to you guys, but I think this is a time really big to show other folks empathy. We all got to kind of band together. The thing that's been really great kind of tuning in tonight with what, a lot of you guys are doing. You guys are half a world away, but we're living the same instance, right? Like, this is a great time where globally, I think we can have a very united front. And I think it's going to take great thought leaders to be able to say, hey, we're going to get through this. We're going to be able to manage the expectations of whether it be, on a national scale, international scale. And I think we just need to band together and do whatever we can to put out best practices, whether it's.
Are you seeing that? Are you seeing a sense of community? I think I've got quite an idealistic view of how I want New Zealand to be anyway. And being down here, I sort of already start to feel like a sense of community around all the economic stuff going on, but also obviously the sort of potential that we could end up going into lockdown and that sort of vibe eventually. And I like to think
like people shopping for elderly. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. A lot of what I've been doing, a lot of networking going on right now. I've set up 3 or 4 meetings this week with people I've never even met before. We're going to meet, over Zoom, face to face, get to know one another. I think this is a great time to network. If there's any sincere thoughts that I think you can share within your own networks, because I think you guys have a pretty broad reach. We're all connected with, several thousands of people. And I think that the ability to really just put out great thoughts and great vibes and try to understand, that we're all in the same spot, although we're doing it differently. I think that's important right now. And I think that level of empathy and compassion for one another will be really what's going to be the difference on how we get through this or not, and I think that's going to make really a big difference in a lot of ways.
I totally agree, man. It's quite interesting. Like, you watch all of the movies for years, and it's been very clear for about 80% of them, basically the aliens or the tech takes over, and then or some disease wipes everyone out. And it's weird because we haven't really learned, because the AI is coming, the robots are coming, and flipping shit's taking us out. But I definitely agree that it's changed the dynamic of a lot of communities, and even like what it's been quite cool seeing is how many people are proactively helping share ideas and insights with different bits and pieces to help other people out, right? Which is rad. And we've got Claire back in the mix. It's okay. How was your dinner?
Yay.
I actually have some gender balance.
Yeah, so that's my thing. Which I think it's good. Do you have more hope for humanity, hoping that we pull through on the other side?
Not watching the supermarket footage. Not watching some of that. But there are a lot of good stories out there too.
Yeah. They're the Muppets, though, eh? You can't stop the Muppets.
There's always
It also
there's always
sucks
the
that you
scene.
actually have to search for the good stories through all of the nonsense. And it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's the
okay,
engagement
enough.
algorithm, right? The negative stories, they reach further, right? That's the Facebook algorithm.
Yeah.
Sadly, the world we live in.
Don't any of you have the full Polly? I keep going full Pollyanna on it. I keep getting the sense that that we're actually going to learn something about how we need to live from all of this. Like, I don't know. I'm a bit zen because I've just come out of 2 weeks of self-isolation, and I discovered in that time, after coming out of that back into work, I went, oh my freaking goodness! I actually really enjoyed my pace of life I had over the last 2 weeks, where I was working hard out in the morning, having a cup of tea in the sunshine in the afternoon. Now I'm back into full-on were mode. Like, I think we're probably all the sort of people we are. We're quite similar, where we 110% all the time, overconnected, running from one thing to the next, and to be forced to pause and to actually sit back properly for a couple of weeks. I feel like I've come out the other end a little bit changed in terms of what I want from myself, in terms of the pace of life that I live.
Personally, I've seen this
event
once before with the Christchurch
wine.
earthquake. Really reminds me of the Christchurch earthquake. That's the other event where people just stop. Everyone just kind of stopped and paused, and you realise what's important. And when everything stops, when there's no more toilet paper, you really take stock.
Yeah.
I see what you did there with the stop.
Thank you.
Well played.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Back to Claire's point. Basically, she's just been on the piss on the wines for 2 weeks at home, and she's been getting paid for it, so she doesn't care.
Yeah, sorry.
How did you find self-isolation, Claire?
Yeah,
How did you find self-isolation?
Yeah, give us a recap on that.
Yeah, I found it like it was definitely like I thought I was going to go bananas, because I am hypersocial and tend to enjoy working that way, and I was surprised in the sense that, admittedly, I'm not in the position where it was affecting my income, and I can totally see that has real pressures on people. But I actually found that I found a new way of working pretty quickly, in terms of, again, I think the privilege of being connected and having a whole lot of tools at my fingertips to make sure that I was constantly socially connected through work, to be really productive remotely, meant that I suddenly realised that I was equipped to deal with, a change of situation really suddenly. But I genuinely feel like it's the first time I've slowed down, and as long as I can remember. And I was surprised at how well I felt at the end of the 2 weeks. I've gone back to work, and I love my work. I love leading a school, but I'm back to having whirring brain when I go to bed at night, and back to having like a dull headache that I didn't realise I had. And I just went, oh my freaking God, like I've always known I've got tinnitus, and I've always known that I'm a bit worried. And I thought, actually, that stuff's really elevated by, I suspect we accept an insane level of stress that is not normal. And there's a whole lot of shit going on in the places where they've been really locked down, where you can see nature is taking back over. And you sort of got to wonder, I've got a theory that Mother Nature's trying to tell us to wake the fuck up to our situation that we're in.
Whoa, that is deep. That is deep. The L's of Venice are clear. Wow.
But again, you look at the numbers, she's not wrong, because it's how many decades repeated? There's a big virus, big virus, big virus, big virus. We haven't learned, so she's given us another one.
Yeah.
And that's not she, Claire, that's she, Mother Nature.
Nice to chat with you all. I've got a roll. Quick shout out to the McLaughlin.
Nah, I cut him off. No shout outs.
No shout outs.
I know. Oh, is he back? No, there you are. No, you're back again. No, you're back. You're back.
He's demanding a shout out.
Okay, demand your shout out. There you go. 20 seconds. Get your shout out.
Quick shout out to the McLaughlin family, self-isolating in Dunedin, doing
now. There's no audio.
See you later, guys. Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe.
See you, bro. Yeah, it's been awesome, guys. I'll follow Mike. I don't feel comfortable when I'm not working alongside him, so I'll head off too.
All right. Nice talking to you, Will. Shot, bro.
Cheers, bros.
Bye.
I think has your experiment been a success for a bit?
It has actually. Really, it has. The workflow and the tech stuff of has worked solid. We've been able to pull through 6 in real time. Some of the things on the side we can do things like this. Comments coming straight through. So Hinamo says can't work remotely as regional child and adolescent mental health. Blah, blah, blah. Working on issues. Yeah, I actually feel. See, services. They can't. They're stuffed. The problem if kids get sent home, parents have to as well. Nobody to look after them. Man, totally. Because I was thinking about this. I was talking to the cleaner at the gym, and she was saying, "Oh, like if I had children, I wouldn't be able to work, but I need to work, and then all of a sudden the next day I don't have work." This is pretty. That whole thing's gonna.
And I think as a school leader, I've actually been saying really publicly that whilst it's deemed safe and healthy, I'm actually really stoked to provide a service to our families and provide an environment for our young people where there's routine, normality. I was out on duty at lunchtime and our kids were out skateboarding in the plaza and playing basketball, and it sort of warmed the cockles of my heart. I thought, actually, if we can protect this for as long as possible where it's safe, and that these people can come together with a physical community and enjoy that stuff, I think it's a good call. And it's serving those people in our community that, that should we close tomorrow would find it really hard.
Yeah. And following up on that as well, just quickly on the stress on parents, there's a lot of the UK was very slow to actually respond. And I'm from the UK, so I'm monitoring because my family is still there. Boris finally caught up, but has now gone full hardline, and now half of the country's parents are stuck having to go home, not work. And it's not just those, it's the small things that most people won't consider. It's that they now have to actually find the money to be able to feed that child during the day that they weren't having to do before. It's like they don't have that money, and now they've got to find it. There's a lot of stresses.
You go. Sorry, Claire.
No. I was just saying it's been really interesting watching the whole global scene of those leaders who, in the first wee while, felt like they were really laissez-faire and laid back, and actually they're the ones that are kicking in with the real knee-jerk, full-on things. And I think we've been really lucky to experience a pretty measured, stepped-up response. And man, our friends in the States and England and other places are not experiencing that at the moment.
Yeah, it's weird. You almost seen like copy paste roll out in certain different spots, right? It's just like boom, 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 and it won't get us. It's like no, it's probably already there. And actually, someone high up the food chain in the New Zealand ecosystem told me, I think it would have been last month when they started talking about it. He goes, well, you realize they just haven't tested anyone in New Zealand for it yet, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? He's like, yeah, there's been no tests actually even done yet. So of course we don't have anything to report. And I was like, are you telling me it might already be here? And he's like, no, dude, it's here. They don't want the press. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit. But like,
the question that I would ask you guys over the last couple of months, especially like here in the States, I was talking with one of the physicians that I know, and one of the questions that came about was how many people actually had this that were misdiagnosed, were sent home, and then it passed. I mean, has anybody even stopped to think about that? And I don't know. It's one of those things where when I heard that, I'm like, wow, this has probably been a lot of places over the last few months and nobody's really known it, but it's starting to surface now. And I think that, don't get me wrong, I think this is a pretty major issue, but I think the fact that people are completely losing their minds over it, like it's the zombie apocalypse of 2020, I think, I think there's a real need to step back and, put into perspective the fact that, it's really easy to bash government leaders around, oh man, we were unprepared for this, this country, that country, around the globe. But really, yeah, we should have been better prepared for this, as a whole. But, the one good that's going to come from this, I think, is that, we can all put aside our own personal agendas for 5 minutes and actually stop and remember we're all on the same page. We're all trying to get through this together. And I think that being able to keep that in mind is a really good thing. And for you, as far as being an educator, hats off to you. I was sharing with these guys that my two sons, they're home from school over the next couple of weeks. And, their teachers are meeting with them via Zoom and different things like that. So I think that the real heroes in this situation are those like you that work in education and really make a difference for driving that next generation. Because I think 20 years from now, when my sons are my age, they're going to look back on this time. They're going to remember this, and they're going to remember how, there was this technology shift where kids, wherever they are, I think we're going to be able to, if you want to be at home and you want to be homeschooled, I think you'll be able to do that, but do it via, remote session, things like that. I think there's going to be a lot of technological breakthroughs coming from this.
We will see an exponential jump and shift in education as a result of this long term, no question. And, I had to chuckle because we've got Ideologue magazine here in New Zealand, and I wrote a piece for them earlier this year, which was looking at, or end of last year, which was imagining education 500 years from today. And suddenly I've read it and gone, oh shit, that 500 years went fast. In terms of the closing of the borders and relocalizing and realizing that actually the curriculum and definition of excellence as we know it in traditional schooling is redundant. And the sooner we wake up to the fact that actually young people understand empathy and problem solving and working as a community and connecting, it's actually what matters. And I've got a really big hope that this whole situation not only redefines how we deliver teaching and learning, it redefines how we measure success in an educational system, because it's been off the mark, for years, and driving me nuts.
Do you feel that it's going to be a thing the same way, everyone remembered where they were September 11th, right? Everyone remembers that moment, and it changed, policy and government and so many. Do you think with this, because of its effect now at a global level, this is going to be remembered as it's not, before Christ, BC, and after death, AD. Do you think it's going to be before Corona and after Corona in terms of how business is done? I kind of fundamentally feel that this isn't going to be just a 2-week thing. This is now going to get implemented for, I think this is going to roll for a couple of months. And as soon as that's happened, it already transitioned. I think it is a official transition from the old world to the new world of how business is being done. It has to be, right? So surely this is it's a monumental moment for humanity to see where technology has actually shifted it for where business and culture and community is actually going to go. We're talking about coronavirus, and I think there's going to be a lot of businesses do some pretty crazy, gnarly, restructured, shift to the future crazy shit right now to help them, and actually brave CEOs doing it to take their business to where they think the future can be. It almost feels like now's the almost perfect opportunity for them to be able to do it. I mean, does that sit and feel right, or am I too trippy?
I think you're absolutely on the money.
Yeah, to go along with that, I think the thing that's really going to make the difference now is the way that organizations respond to their customers' needs. Whether that's be the cancellation of a software subscription because maybe they're a small business that can't afford it anymore while they're trying to stay afloat, or someone going out there and needing to cancel their gym membership because whatever came up, maybe they lost their job. I think that the real pivotal part right now is going to be those that become the most customer centric are really going to deliver on the idea of having brand advocates for life, and those that can't step up to that plate, they're going to be the ones that fall during a time like this. But I think the way business is done as a whole will be really defined by the way that the customer experience is driven across the board. And I know, at least for me, you know, being somebody that's really big on customer journey, the way that the people that I do business with treat me now will determine if I'm doing business with them post coronavirus, you know?
Yep. Post corona, PC. BC and PC. We've just defined it.
Yeah.
Scott's joined us. What's up, Scotty? How are you, brother?
I really hope you're not driving, buddy.
Yeah, you.
Oh, no.
Is this reversed or are you on the other side? That's my move.
No, I'm sitting in a countdown car park watching the toilet rolls stream out the door.
Oh, jeez.
I'm
the bread disappeared in the last couple of days. What was that about?
So, Scott, you're joined by Daly, Shawn, Claire. We've got Utah in the house. We've got Auckland, and obviously you in Christchurch.
Yeah.
What's cracking, buddy?
Interesting. I guess, just to change the tactic a wee bit, or the topic, like my comment that you were about to share before, I kind of have this feeling, we've kind of had a few doomsday meetings today, just looking at worst case scenario and what that means from a business perspective and stuff. And it's almost like we are onto this earlier than other countries. We've got that ability of locking down our borders because we're an island. We've also had the ability to watch and see how other countries have dealt with it so far and what's worked and what hasn't. But because we're onto it so early, I think there's going to have more of an economic problem in New Zealand, especially if we don't get cases or that bell curve happening shortly, because we've kind of, I guess, in the marketplace, in the SME marketplace, confidence has dropped and everyone's holding on to their money. So it's almost like the longer that this period lasts for, the worse the economic problems are going to be. It's going to fix all the health problems, but it's going to have another effect. So I was wondering what you guys were thinking about that. Or I don't see in the day-to-day conversations I'm having with people at the moment, no one's actually scared of the disease. We're all scared of the economic issues.
Oh, loaded, but I get it. Basically, currency over community, right?
Well, it's tough when you see the reaction that Boris got when he tried to pull the whole let's do the herd vaccination thing. That's actually making a choice to let people die, whereas we're going more the PC route and we're preserving life. But our business is going to die. And
is this going to be the actual birth of the universal basic income or not?
Ooh.
Who knows? I think we're talking global and universal, which is pretty cool in the sense that we are so connected, and this call kind of proves it as well. But yeah, it's just interesting. It's interesting that we have such live reporting and we can see so much about what's happening globally, and we can make decisions on like some of these decisions have happened super quick for the weight of the decisions, and it's almost like if we go back 40-50 years, we wouldn't have been able to make any of these decisions in this much time, and it's just going to be interesting. What are the effects based on the fact we're a little bit early? What's going to happen other than the health effects? Something like that.
What can we do? Do you think we can do anything to negate that?
Well, the package the government released yesterday is awesome, and I'm a firm believer that we're bloody lucky to be in this side of the world, and we've got a great government, and I'd say that whether we had a national government or a Labour government, I think we're just blessed to be in this country and have a lot of freedom of speech and a lot of rights and stuff. So that when something's affecting all of us, they're going to come to the party, and I think there's a few countries around the world that don't have that ability to stay so positive. The bulk of us will survive. There is obviously, you mentioned it before, Robert, the service-based businesses, we can't. I've got 2 people out of 25 people that work for me that can work remotely. Everyone else does stuff with it.
Yeah.
So it's really just the mitigating that. But we can trade, and I can set up safe spaces to work in. We can trade unless we lose sales. If people don't value our service and don't understand that what we bring is of value, and it becomes one of those expenses that we can cut, then we can't trade based on the fact that there's no sales.
Well, exactly to that point is overnight. I think from last Thursday to Friday, there was a buddy of mine in the events game. Their holding company lost, the company that owns them lost $7 million of bookings in 24 hours. That is.
I mean, shit got real over the weekend. We woke up on Monday in a different. This was the topic of conversation in every single workplace, everywhere. I think we've just been kind of watching from afar, and then it just became like our thing on Monday. That's kind of my take on it.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Just being in a different part of the world, one thing that's been talked a lot about here in the States is that, part of what led to, a quick economic downturn, that's going to ultimately more than likely turn into a recession here is the fact that, we're getting different messaging from the WHO, from the CDC, from, the presidential administration, things like that. And, I don't really have an opinion on that one way or the other. That's just what a lot of people I know are talking about, mixed messages across the board. I would ask you for you guys in that part of the world, like with your, leaders and some of those things, do you feel like there's been a pretty uniform message, or is it, depending on where you want to get your information from, it could be very contradictive? I'm just curious on that.
Yeah, I'll answer this from American side. Very simple. New Zealand doesn't have a Fox versus CNN.
Fake news.
we've got basically there's two companies. You've basically got the Herald and stuff, and then that's kind of it. And they wanted to be buddies, but then no, they can't. But
and we've also been blessed with a Susie Wiles and a Michelle Dickinson over the last few weeks. I mean, those two have just been the most phenomenally consistent voices of reason.
Sure.
I think one of the interesting points on this is like we are so our view on the world is so algorithm based. So my view on these subjects is based on my last 6 months worth of search history now. We're not all tuning into mainstream media. So wherever we looked at in the past, it's now maybe haunting us in our present. And I just find that really interesting. I think we've all got a different view on who we're listening to and what trusted sources there are these days. And I think this is probably the first time that's been of real interest to me. It's like, what's showing up in your feed versus mine, and what advice are you, or what are you tuning into to get advice versus what am I? I mean,
sure,
we can all, I just think that's really interesting.
My stream was Tom Brady leaving the Patriots for the Buccaneers, so it's changed my Vegas odds quite dramatically. So that's been high on my priority list.
Hey, the better question is, why isn't Tom Brady just done? Period, man.
Dude, that's a separate show. 43 GOAT, mate. 6 Super Bowls, 9 showings. He's not doing too bad. But no, what I did think about, because I was looking at the stream of New Zealanders in the last while, and it wasn't that it was this necessary doom and gloom, but the clickbait mentality for the business and commercial models behind the media has got a lot to flip an answer for this unnecessary panic bullshit that has put a lot of people off over the edge. 100%. Like and it's almost like the fact I was going to do a little video about it, but I never truly grasped the actual power of media until I saw the real world implications of what media platforms were actually doing. And then because they're without getting too much into it, I just kind of get frustrated where the clickbait mentality of how their business model runs from a CPM rate, which is a race to the bottom so they can keep their jobs, has just diminished the quality of information out in the public to such a level where it's like it's headline reading so they keep their job, or some people keep their job, but actually it brings fear into people, and that fear is unnecessary and flipping stupid and just unwarranted and just idiotic. So I kind of blame, someone not being able to get toilet paper because flipping the business model from the media companies. I know it's that thing, but it's shit, man. So I was like, how do we have a positive light of, where are the good stories for New Zealand? Where's the good vibes? Where's the cool shit? Where's the, where's all that stuff? And I think whoever, can strangle that, but it won't be the mainstream. The mainstream's not going to want to, you don't make money from the cool stuff. You make money from the fear.
But it's also, I mean, what you're saying, like digital marketing is flawed in the sense that it's so metric driven, and quite often we're using the wrong metrics, and they're being used against us as an audience. And you know, like that is the big problem. Like, what are the metrics that matter, and what are we really tracking? You know, is this ad spend on a news platform? So they're clickbaiting to get audience, so then they can charge more for their advertising space. Like the reality is, you and me, we look through those, you know, we can read between the lines, but there's a bunch of people that are just believing everything they see and hear.
Yeah, which is why there's no toilet paper for Sally from flipping Whitaker Street. That's the only reason, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why education's really important. Critical thinking. I mean, and that's where I think we need a whole sort of new normals in terms of what we consider a curriculum, what we measure and celebrate as success in our schools, because actually, you know, there's been a whole lot of us sitting in the background going, oh, 24 skills, blah, 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 soft skills, blah, 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 blah. You know, if there was ever living evidence of why critical thinking and all of that stuff was so freaking important, now is it, you know, community and collaboration and creativity. That is going to be the stuff. Like, and I've been blown away. I love how the fact that creatives online are actually the ones who are producing the light online at the moment. And we've seen a real surge in the shares of creativity, you know, whether it's musicians, performers, whatever. And suddenly, you know, that stuff's being celebrated in a way that's, you know, got to be positive.
We were saying that to Mike before. My prediction guarantee was the quality of content is going to force every single YouTuber and creator and whatever to get creative in a lockdown spot. And I actually think a lot of musicians, comedians, and all sorts are going to actually be a pop out of it because they've got the talent to cut through with no budget, with nothing, with just a camera and a wall. You know, and I think TikTok creativity and challenges are going to go through the flipping roof as everyone gets like bored and at home. Like TikTok stock is about to blow up because of the shit, like 100%.
Did you hear, I think it's in Korea, there was a case of the kids all worked out if they gave 1-star ratings to the platform that they were getting delivered their teaching and learning from, it got it taken off the App Store. And instead what they've been doing is doing a whole lot of TikTok challenges for their dads that are suddenly at home. You know, and that sort of shit is actually gold. It's sort of like, actually, this is going to weed stuff out, and it's going to, things are going to fall by the wayside, you know, in quite a Darwinian manner online.
Totally get it.
Real life.
Well, it's 11:34 here, and I'm gonna peace out. The tech works, the streamer at the bottom works, the little code thing works, this background works. We've got, I think there's up to 6. I think we got up to 6 today, but I'm going to see how many more we can do. Shawn, I appreciate you.
I came on as the 6th person that it said you can't do any more than 6. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I want like 20. No, 6 is fine.
We're like a Brady Bunch, you know.
Appreciate it, Scott, legend brother. Hope all goes good down there, Claire, and Shawn, my man, flipping Utah. Appreciate you at 12:34 a.m. on a Wednesday now for you. Actually, this is a moment. I'm on Tuesday. You're on. Oh no, you just switched to Wednesday. I was seeing if we could get the 3 of them, but no, it's good. But it's a weird. We're in the same country, but 2 days, and you're back in the other day.
I'm calling from the future. Yeah,
calling from the future. Love your work, team. Thanks so much, everybody. Good to see this works. Be safe out there, team. Peace.
All right.